Okay, now that we've got a component to work with, what we're going to do is get the data from our API so that we can populate the information inside here. So back to VS Code, and what we'll do is we'll take a look at our interface first that we have for our profile. And what we're doing at the moment is we've got our profile, but what we also need is an interface for our photos as well. So we'll create a new interface for our photo. So we'll say export interface and photo, and we're going to give it the ID, which is a type of string, the URL, again a string, and the isMain property, which of course is a Boolean. And then we're going to add the photos array onto the profile as well. So we'll say photos, make it optional, and this is going to be a type of photo array. And what we'll do is we'll open up our agent.ts file next, and we'll create an object that we can use to go and get the user's profile. So we'll say const profiles equals, and for now we're just going to have a single request to go and get the user's profile, and we'll use the username, which is a type of string, and then we'll say requests.get, and this is going to be a type of profile that we get back from the API, and the URL will say backticks and then profiles /$ and then the username. And this of course will give us our profile with the user's photos as well. And then what we'll do is we'll create a profile store. So we'll go to Solution Explorer, and let's go to our stores, and we'll create a new file, and we're going to call it profile store.ts. And let's clean up things at the top. So our profile store will say export default class profile store, and the properties that we're going to have in here, we'll have a property for the profile, and this is going to be a type of profile, but of course we're not always going to have a profile stored in here, so we can also set an option for it to be null and set its initial value to be null as well. And we'll also add a loading profile property, and we'll set this equal to false. Then we need our constructor, just like any other MobX class that we're using, and we'll use the make auto observable and specify lists, so that these two properties now are automatically flagged as observables by MobX. And then we'll add our load profile method. So we'll say load profile, it's going to be an async method, and we'll pass in the username as a parameter here of type string. And of course this is going to be an arrow function, so it automatically binds to our class here. So what we'll do, we'll set the loading profile flag equal to true when we're about to load someone's profile, and then we'll add a try catch block and pass in the error, and we'll just console.log any error because we do have centralized error handling from our agent interceptor or our Axios interceptor. And what we'll also do inside, if we get an error, we'll use the running action, and then we'll say list.loading profile equals false, so we turn off the loading indicator. So for our try block, we're going to get a profile back from our request to the API, so we'll say const profile equals await, and then agent.profiles, which we need to export from our agent.ts file. So we'll add another property in here for our profiles object, and then we can go back to our profile store and say agent and profiles and get, and then pass in the username as a parameter. And then we'll say run in action, and we need to say this.profile equals profile, and we'll say this.loading profile equals false. And just to finish off this particular lesson, very straightforward, we've done this kind of thing before, and just to finish this off, we'll go to our store.ts, and we'll add a new property in our interface for the profile store of type profile store, and then we'll also add it to our store object and say profile store is a new profile store, and add the parentheses. And now we have this available. In the next lesson, we'll actually go and get the data and populate our profile component.